more of a ladies' man?
Mohinder Amarnath.
Oh?
Yeah, Mohinder Amarnath was the ladies' man. The match was 6 days ago.
Oh.
And I was with the team and I was practicing and I'd already... It was not that it was the next day.
Challenges you faced on the field and off the field. And that's why I'm saying you're one of my favorite cricketers.
Said. And one question more. Sir, about that article which I read about you, with the spat between Virat Kohli and Sunil Gavaskar.
Sunil Gavaskar, yeah.
You know,
my recent one.
Recent one, yes. And I think I would like you to elaborate on it in one way, from Sunil Gavaskar's point of view. Because I grew up watching him play. He was in the top, but he was arrogant. For a watcher, for people who were watching him from a distance, he was arrogant. You have spent a lot of good times with him. You have been his roommate in England.
Yeah, of course.
So, tell me whether Sunil Gavaskar, as on today, yes, he is an expert. He has every right to tell the truth, which the audience are here to hear from him. But should not they give some leeway to the current players?
He has given, he's not said, he gave his opinion as to about naturally the run strike rate as such. That is when you talk about Sunil Gavaskar and arrogance and all, yes, he was. He was not more than arrogant, he was a very selfish person in where his cricket was concerned. Nothing mattered to him. Neither his family, if we went into a test match, because like you said, I was the room partner of his, I was the 12th man in quite a few of the matches. And his wife and all, he said, please talk to Sunny or something about any passes. Don't harass me, now I'm concentrating on my game. And he was very selfish in that way. That was his mode of thinking. And I've seen in sports, you need that bit of selfishness. I didn't have it much on me. I don't know, maybe it was the way you were brought up. But to succeed, you have to be selfish as well. You have to be selfish for yourself because you're working hard and you want to achieve what you want to. And we always, when you said that, we always said all these guys, I mean, nobody is going to talk to them after they finish their cricketing careers. But they change over there, more friendly now than anything else. So, although he was a Khadus, as you would say, a Bombay Khadus, he had a tremendous sense of humor. I mean, you enjoyed an evening with him because he was the best actor you could. I told Amitabh Bachchan that you were fortunate Sunil didn't take up acting, otherwise he would have been in that limelight because he's a natural actor. And not only that, he's an after-dinner speaker. He's one of the best you'd ever come across, his jokes and all. But now you come to the spat between Virat Kohli. My thing is, when a senior great legend like him says something, don't make it public. You know, it is, have a conversation with him, ring him up and accept what he's saying. And he was not saying anything wrong. He was just saying how important, what happens is players, if I was also playing at this time, I would have consolidated myself, got my eye in, got about 20 runs in maybe 20 balls or whatever. And then I go along and start hitting the ball. And then I get a 50 in 34 balls, or let's say that. And that is the way you can, and you have got a 50, you've shown, you've got runs and all. But that's not going to win you a T20 match. The whole thing of there's a transformation that has taken place in T20. And you saw that from Head and Abhishek as to how you could, if two people attack at the same time.
Played like playing a benefit match.
But both attacked and look where it went through. So there's a change now. You're looking at, like I said in my article, like a Formula One sports car. You are pushing the accelerator from the very first ball. Kohli tried that. Yesterday he did get runs. He tried to hit the first ball and he got dropped. I mean, he would have got a zero. But you can see Maybe Sunil Gavaskar's the article has made an impression on him that this is how cricket is changing now. You have to play a different mode of cricket. And youngsters today want to see that. They don't want to see somebody playing forward, defensive, and backward. They want to see all these 180 degrees and 360 degree shots. And that's what cricket has become today. And I feel quite interested what the youngsters will try and imitate. Will they go for trying to learn technique, or will they go in to learn power hitting? As they can, and that's going to be the next step that one will try to think about in the future as such.
Well, as they say that fielding is an art, and you are good artist, if I have to put it that way. A lot of youngsters are watching this and want to hear you and more stories on cricket. But if I have to talk about specifically about fielding department, because that is one area where you can save runs, where you can win matches for your team, and you can do a lot more. But especially when you're talking about the position where you used to field, which is the forward short leg, probably that one position, or the backward point, or probably when the keeper is standing closer to the stumps behind, So those are the positions where you get fraction of seconds to react. What would you, would like to
Advise the youngsters.
advise the youngsters that what are those tricks or what are those tips to field at that particular position?
See, one is what you said is right. Fielding is a very important factor in a cricket game as such. Catches win matches, the famous saying, and that's very important. Fielding, yes, 1 run saved is 1 run gained. So all these cliches did come out of fielding as such. And when you talk about forward short leg fielding or close-in fielding, forget forward short leg, there are a lot of things that you have to, there's a technique to it as well. And it's a technique that you have to master, and you have to think how you can take it to the best level. For me, I mean, like you said, yes, one was the reflexes. I was gifted with quick reflexes. But these reflexes are something that comes about by training. Mine may have come through training because I played a lot of other sports. And so the flexibility and the movement and something that I was never scared to field there. I always felt I could avoid something. I could avoid a hit. I could avoid. I could enjoy myself there. And first thing is about where do you stand? How do you stand? How do you look at the game as such? I used to at forward shot leg. I had this. I used to play with myself as such. I would make sure that no ball. Forget catches. I would want to let one ball pass next to me. So it would always be that I have to field every ball. So I said this mantra, the ball is coming to me, the ball is coming to me. So I was only looking for the ball to come to me. I didn't think about whether he was going to play something else. So whenever any batsman was batting there, I was only thinking about the balls coming to me. So when it came, it never came as a surprise. Because I was always, and the whole day to do this was a very tiring effort. And like you said, a wicket keeper, the forward short leg fielder has to keep on bending. And you have to be careful because all those full tosses and short pitches also come along. But you shouldn't have that fear, first of all. And to develop that, and I've been also talking, I've been saying, and nobody really takes it seriously, unfortunately, whether it is the BCCI or anyone, that there's a technique that goes into short leg fielding, there's a technique that goes into silly point fielding, gully. It's all different. All these positions are different, and you have to look at it very differently. Like at first slip, if you're fielding, you're looking at the bowler and you're looking at the ball from the time it leaves, and you're always thinking it's coming to you. Gully, you can't look at the bowler or the ball. You're looking at the batsman in that direction you're looking at. And you're trying to master that. And you have to really master all these positions, because a captain can put you anywhere. Like catches. Yesterday you saw there were a lot of drop catches. These are the catches which go in the air and they twirl. Now, you have to take a lot of them to understand how steady your body has to be, how steady you have to be able to catch this, because it is going to twirl. And if you go along with the twirl, you go into zippy.
Well, as you said, because I'll add one thing here, is anticipation a crucial criteria in fielding?
Yeah, anticipation comes along with experience, with being in a position for a long time.
Okay.
Now, so like because I was at forward short leg, just the movement of the body, of the way the batsman was going to play, it automatically came into it. Same so you have to specialize at various positions, and today that seems to have disappeared because of limited over cricket. Nobody is fielding close to the bat because you don't need to specialize there. You need to specialize at the 30-yard circle or at the boundary lines. And sometimes what happens is you can anticipate wrong also. So I've seen that people trying to anticipate a catch at forward short leg, and they moved when the ball has gone the other way, because see, basically you don't know which direction it is coming. So I mean, there is no way you can try and judge that. If you are at the same position, ready to pounce in any direction, you'll be on a better wicket than to move with the ball as such. So anticipation in anything is very good to do it, but it shouldn't be such that it unbalances you. You have to be balanced. You have to be able to move like a cheetah does or whatever. You have to be able to move at you're like a cat, on just about to attack. And you have to be ready to be able to move in any direction and jump at any direction when it comes at it. And that is fielding as such. And that comes only with a lot of practice.
For every cricket generation, there are always those dressing room stories. Let me ask you some questions about that. Who was the most notorious or the masti-khor during your time and in the dressing room especially?
My time, I was. Because anybody wanted anything to be done, they would chadao me. And I would fall for it. But yes, there was always masti in the dressing room. There was a lot of leg pulling which would go on, because we needed to keep ourselves amused as well. So nothing was always serious. There was always a lot of things that happened. Sunil Gavaskar was the biggest instigator.
Okay.
I can say he was a typical guy who would instigate and then look back upon it.
Chavi laga do aur chhod do.
He was a chavi master, number one.
Who was a good dancer?
I don't know. We never danced so much around, not like what they do today.
Oh, but still, I mean, just evening that you all are spending together, and someone is like that one who was more of a ladies' man.
Mohinder Amarnath.
Oh?
Yeah, Mohinder Amarnath was a ladies' man. Then you had Karsan Gavri, who was, I think, the ultimate playboy as such, with his looks and all that. So, no, they were all there. Both of them were, yes, very much the front runners.
And who was more spiritual? There are certain, players I've seen, they've got a lot of superstitions. Like if they have to enter the ground, they will put the right feet first and the left, and so on and so forth.
Everyone was spiritual. Everyone, not spiritual, everyone
had their own superstitions.
That is putting your pads on, wearing the same trouser, your cap, so many things. That every cricketer has that sort of superstition that they follow, the ritual they follow. They want to do that because when you get runs, you won these shoes, then you will wear those shoes again. So, or you eat something and you make sure you eat that every day. Like I remember in Bhopal that I was talking at Patodi Memorial, I was getting a lot of runs, and because the food was, I don't like spicy food, and then because it was all spicy, I used to have a lot of carrots. And I went and said that, rabbits, the eyesight is good because of carrots. Everyone started eating carrots as such. But I kept on eating carrots because I thought I was going to get runs, because maybe it does make a difference in the eyesight. So those things are always...
Who was more of a foodie?
Kapil Dev.
Really?
My God, he could finish He could finish about two meals. I was his room partner as well. If I was a little late and the meal had come through, he would have polished everything by the end of it. He could eat, and now the funny part is he hardly eats. He's on a perpetual diet as such, or he eats very limited food. But he could eat. Yeah, we used to also sometimes we didn't have the. We used to get 105 pounds for the whole week, and we had to pay for our meals. We had to pay for our laundry, so we never dived because who was going to pay and clean the thing? And there was a lot of these things. So when that Kentucky chicken basket would come, Kapil would be able to finish quite a bit of it. I can tell you that. And if he was eating, you had to make sure you ate before him.
Who was a good singer?
See, it was Shivalka was a good singer.
Because you travel a lot, and when you travel a lot, you have something or the other thing.
I can tell you, none of us was good singers as such.
Okay, who was a bad singer?
But all of them were bad enough. But you had Karsan Gavri who would be singing Hindi songs while the test match is going on at the boundary line, but never dropped a catch. Never, ever. Because he would amuse himself through that. You had Shivalka and all in West Zone team. Shivalka was a good singer and all that. But I don't remember anyone having the guts to sing too much among us. Especially in the test team, I never thought anyone... Yeah, Mohinder would sing sometime or the other, but nobody had that voice or something that they could please us regularly as such.
Well, in 2006, Greg Chappell invited you to take specialized fielding trainings.
Yes, of course.
And I think some of the big names of India, you talk about Virendra Sehwag, you talk about Yuvraj Singh, you talk about Mohammad Kaif, you talk about Wasim Zafar. With them, Yuvraj Singh was there.
And Kumble as well as Dravid as such.
Wow. So how was that experience, and what?
See, what happened was Greg thought very rightly, because what was happening is to win a test match, you needed catches in the forward short leg and the closing fielding. And he was finding that as a very weak spot, that he couldn't find somebody who could field there at that position. And trust me, and I'm telling you the truth, none of them could. Because again, I said, nobody had specialized in it. It was when they were youngsters, they were put there. And I think Chopra was the last chap who fielded extremely well in that position. And the rest, after that, so when we went through it, and then after that, Greg asked me, what do you think? And I said, I'm sorry, none of them. It was because none of them wanted to field there, first of all. That was number one. And poor Yuvraj was put there and he dropped 3 catches or something that day. So there was a backlash towards it. Yeah. But he wanted to just to see for himself that is he doing something wrong? Yeah. Is there something that he's put through? They were all brilliant fielders 30 yards away. They were extremely good fielders, all that. But again, this is where I don't think Jonty Rhodes would be a great forward short leg fielder.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to realize, and nobody seems to realize that it's a specialist position. Yeah. And so often, I mean, I've tried to tell people that you're doing well in your batting, try and specialize in something else, because the team will require you as a forward short leg fielder or whatever, even these youngsters, if you learn. And I think this has to come from, the under 15s time also, because you have to teach them that. It doesn't come naturally. So what happens as a youngster, when you come into the test team, you're thrown into it forward short leg.
Right.
Now that chap has never fielded there. He doesn't know how to anticipate, like you said. He doesn't know what will come to him. He's only there because he's been forced to be there. What happens when he goes to play domestic matches? Immediately goes into slips, or he's a senior guy, so he's fielding not at forward short leg, because you don't want to get... The main thing is nobody wants to get injured out there.
Right.
And you get injured, you lose your position and you lose everything else to get back again. So no one wants to specialize, and that was that incident out there. And I do feel sorry for Greg Chappell. because to win a test match, we needed close-in fielders, and he was not being able to. He had good fielders, but no forward shot leg fielder.
But this is, interesting as you say, because I think fielding is one area. I think we've seen good fielders in the Indian side as well. But today, when you're talking about a shorter format, you have the impact player rule,
Yeah.
where one speciality is needed. Either you have to be a good batsman or a bowler.
Yeah.
But fielding is common everywhere, and that is where somewhere down the line, when you see MS Dhoni also setting up the field at the right areas, and something that you mentioned earlier, that it was not that one day suddenly he became a hero. He also made his set of mistakes.
Correct.
He learned from it. He went out there, and it takes time to become a leader, because you get those experience. You improve on your skills, improve on the
Correct.
shortcomings that you
I
have.
agree with you,
And
totally.
after that, you are truly called to be a leader. And no doubt, when he walks today in the ground, it is the loudest cheer that he gets. It's the respect that he's earned over the
Over
years,
time, of
and
course.
probably the captain who has all the the ICC trophies with him.
Yeah.
Having said that, this is the episode where we are more looking to show the audience or tell the audience the untold story of Mr. Yajurvindra Singh Bilkha. Any time in your career you felt that this was not right with me, or something that you want to express
Yeah,
on
getting dropped from the Indian team was both the times. 77, I had done extremely well. I got the record of catches, batted really okay in the next test match as well. Got run out, unfortunately. But we didn't lose the test match, we won. We nearly won that as well. Next was playing zonal matches. I did extremely well in zonal matches. The team selected for Australia, I was not there. I mean, I was not in the 15 or 16 or whatever was there. For what reasons, I didn't know. They made me the first standby when Surinder Amarnath got injured. I was supposed to go there, and Bedi asked for Anshuman Gaikwad, a dear friend of mine, and so I missed out over there totally. Then I was in the wilderness, trying to get runs, trying to get back, this, that. And it took me a long 2 years to get back into the side, to get into the Indian World Cup side, the tour of England as such. Then I did very well bowling-wise there. I did very well. I think got all the top batsmen out, although I was barely a medium-pace bowler, but I'd got all the good wickets, whether it was a Zahir Abbas, a Sadiq Mohammed, a Proctor, a Clive Rice, you name all, the Kirsten, all of them were, I'd got them out as such. And I batted well, and in the last test match, I got 43 not out when the team was struggling in the first innings. Second innings, Sunil got 221 or whatever. And I kept 1-all. So I got myself well established, everything, and to get dropped on the grounds that I was going blind when I came back against Australia and Bangalore. I think, and that also being told after the toss was, I think, the worst moment of my life where cricket was concerned, because it just went through that I didn't have anything. There was nothing I could do about it more than what I'd already done. And to have one shoe on, one shoe off, because I never thought I was dropped because the team had been announced. It was terrible. It was a very low moment.
Were you disheartened that time?
Terribly disheartened. I mean, I didn't know where to go. And then the politics that took place around that, lots of articles, lot of things have written about it, and I had to suffer through that. And that was and then never played after that again. It was a very depressing moment of cricket. Then you suddenly started, like I said, that fun and that passion and that enjoyment of playing the sport suddenly became a sort of a hardship as such. Mentally you were broken by the administrators, not by your cricket friends, not by your cricket, but by the administration who were ruling at that time. And many times people ask me, when is cricket the most enjoyable? The most enjoyable time of cricket is when you're in school. actually, that school camaraderie, the playing with all your school friends later, and it's fun at that time. You're not trying to play for India at that time. You're not trying to play. You're just trying to make sure your school wins, and everyone is with you at that time.
That's the joy that you live.
That joy is something that I think a youngster should first revel in and enjoy it, because that is the moment. Then comes the college also. For us, it was college cricket was at like a school cricket. You became one, and you all were together. The whole college wanted you to do well. People would come to watch you in this. The more higher you go, the fun of cricket disappears. It becomes more professional, more, on performances. The fun element is there, but it's not as enjoyable as what you actually started the sport into.
Did you speak to anyone that time when you
Yeah,
were not getting selected?
Everyone wrote about it, from Patodi to Rajan Bala to everyone. Even the Surya magazine, Maneka Gandhi had, because everyone saw that I could see. I mean, there was no way this chap can get blinded just for no rhyme or reason. So I went.
But you were injured in that previous match. But you were okay, right?
But previous match was 6 days ago, and I was with the team and I was practicing, and I'd already. It was not that it was the next day. It was 1 week. We were in practicing. If they thought I was injured and was unfit to play, they could have taken me out at that. The team was announced also, so it was not like the team was not. The 11 was announced, and we were to play next day. That was it. And I was batting in the nets. If I was not batting in the nets, I wouldn't have been selected in the 11. So it's just that the politics that comes in, then you feel miserable about it. I feel miserable about the game, and you want to go away from it at the end. And that, for me, I think that was a turning moment, a horrible moment where the sport was concerned, cricket. Then over time you get over it, and you then think of very different positively, that you were lucky that you played, because maybe the politics would have kept you out in the first place, like it did with so many others. So at the end you did wear the India cap, and that itself was a fantastic achievement, but one felt for oneself.
But today when you look at the photo of that world record that is just behind you,
Yeah.
do you really have the same smile that you had on that particular day when you were taking those catches?
Never, because too many things have passed through. That was moments of joy, basically, in the sense it was carefree. You didn't care about anything. Everything happened. You didn't go through life the way you do. So that smile and that fun, like I said, the school fun doesn't go through. You don't go through that. Then you become a different individual. But that time you're carefree. And that's what today's young cricketers are, and I quite enjoy watching them, because they are carefree. They're not scared. They are there because they feel good to be there. A Rishabh Pant or yesterday, whether it's one of the other youngsters, they're all having fun. And that's what the sport is all about, is to play it in fun. And like I said, I was the biggest prankster around, so I kept myself amused. And there are many tales of that as well.
Well, if I have to ask you, and if I have to give you two options to choose one, what has taught you the most, cricket or life?
Cricket. Cricket has taught me, because the more ups and downs that one has had in cricket, it is like when you played your first test, the hardship that you go through, the ups and downs you go through, because cricket is what we say, a walk of life, basically, because there's an up, there's a down. It's never consistent. You're as good as the last innings that you've played. You go into a test match and you think you're going to do well. You want to do well. Naturally, you're there to do well. And you fail and you get booed, like I did in my first test match. When I came back, I got booed, I got spat, I got whatever comes along with it. It doesn't harm you, because then you feel, I'm here trying to do something for India and nobody seems to appreciate it. I mean, I don't want to get out, but it happened. Then I got my record of catches, and suddenly I became a hero. overnight hero. So it was from zero to hero, you know. So it made me go through that, and I realized at the end of the day, it is you as a performance. You don't look at what the public thinks about you. You know, after that failure, there were calls coming in my room from everyone to abuse you and put the phone down and all that. So I can understand all these people. So it teaches you a lot of things. It teaches you teamwork as such, to how to get along with players. See, remember, they are not your friends. If you and I are middle order batsmen, we are not friends. I don't know you. You are from maybe from Saurashtra or from Gujarat or from UP. I'm from over here. We are both wanting to play for India at number 4 or 5. How can we be friends? You tell me. We are competitors, but we are also colleagues. And over time, you have to realize that even in the corporate level, I mean, there is somebody else also vying for your place. There's always going to be competition, but how do you still get friendly, remain friends, and still be competitors? You know, is one art that cricket teaches you. Cricket teaches you to get along with all sorts of people from any walk of life, whether they're poor or rich, or they're so much more than you, or they have a family which is better. Some people have broken homes. You have to get along with them. So there's a lot that goes along with cricket, and it teaches you. It teaches you also to perform at the highest level. When you have to act, your performance is everything.
Right.
See, when I was in a corporate, there was maybe they said you have to sell 100 jeeps, but that was a team effort which went into it. And if I didn't sell 100 jeeps, okay, next thoda zyada you may be able to do it 120. Nobody. It's not an individual performance.
Right.
Here it was your individual. It's everything. The responsibility is you, and if you fail, you have to blame yourself. And how do you get that out of that mentally is a very important factor also. So it teaches you so much. That's why I said cricket is the walk of life.
Well, tell us your stint with the corporate world, because all these things probably led you to take a decision somewhere in the life that, you know, from the 22 yards, now you have to get to the corporate desk. And was that shift difficult? Was that shift easygoing? How it was? Because it's not very easy for a cricketer or a sportsman to leave the field and go into an AC office and sit.
Yeah, it's one of the worst moments when you have to leave something that you have specialized in, that you have been known for. And it was, although 10 years, I had spent 10 years in Mahindra's by then, one would say it was a great 10 years in the sense that corporate-wise there was no pressure on you at all. You were still a cricketer as such. And your profession was cricket by then. And you had worked so hard over it. And to leave it and to say the famous word, retiring from, is a very tough decision. It's a really tough decision. Mine became much easier, although I hated leaving. I didn't know what I was going to do next. And that's why I went along to do masters in business management. But the reason that my decision came about quicker was because of all these controversies which happened all throughout. Not that after Saurashtra as well, that was another incident which happened around there. Keshav Mahendra was the chairman, and Mr. Sule, Supriya Sule's father-in-law.
My surname is also Sule.
Sule, yeah, I know. He was a wonderful man, Balu Sule. He was the managing director and a tremendous leader of men as such. And he loved sports. They called me, and as I said, I had relationship with Mahindra's. Suresh Mahendra was my Masa as such. And so they asked me very nicely that, what all this is happening, and what was happening. Every time they would mention me as Mahindra and Mahindra, this, that. So the company image was also getting into it. And so Keshav Mahendra asked me very nicely, he asked me, what do you plan to do where your cricket is concerned? And I said, sir, try and get back into the test team. And he said, okay, we don't mind you trying to do that, but if you get into it. After how many years? I said, maybe 2 years it'll take me again to get runs and get
Right.
in and this and that for my previous experience. So he said, when you do that and you get in, what have you done? What have you achieved? So I said, to play test cricket,
Yeah.
again. But he said, you have already done that. So I said, yes, yeah, I've done that. Are you going to be the captain? Are you going to be what Gavaskar has achieved or somebody else has achieved this, that? I said, no, I don't know. But so he says, because the reason being, I mean, we leave it to you, but I feel you've already played test cricket. We want people to be in the international division of our company and this and that, and I think you better now get into working as well. But if you want to play, this is it. And that. So I told him one thing very strongly. I said, so if I leave, I don't want to go near a cricket ground for some time. That is suppose. He said, who even asked you to go into the cricket ground in the first place? There. And that's when I decided that if the management is looking at me and trying to put me into a good position, and it was an overseas
Right.
job, international marketing, and I came out over there and immediately I said, announce retirement, because it was the best thing. I was very fortunate, like I said, but I can imagine others trying to put an end to their career. It's so difficult because you feel empty.
Yeah.
You feel suddenly that what you had specialized in is not there. Now, how am I going to go through in life after this, as such? And for me, at least, I was very fortunate because of Keshav Mahendra's thing about how many more, or what are we going to achieve?
Secondly, I think very few people get chance to get back in doing something, because
Correct.
as you said rightly, that it's not very easy decision to leave the cricket ground. I know how it feels, because probably I might have not played that much cricket, but during my college times when I got injured, I had to leave that, and it is probably the worst feeling in the world. And
Definitely,
it is beyond words. It is beyond expressions, because that one thing will always stay with you, that you were once a cricketer. But
when you mentioned this, it's very interesting. Once a cricketer, no, it's never once a cricketer.
It's always a cricketer.
And I was in Mahindra's for so many years, did such a lot of work for them. I was with TCS for so many years, doing so much of work for them. And even at TCS, if somebody was introducing you, they'd say, he's our colleague from TCS, and by the way, he's a test cricketer. So already that chap is looking at you as a sportsman. The test cricket sort of thing which is there, it's such a brand, the cricket brand, it never disappears. Look at all of you. You would look at me as a cricketer. Even after all these years,
Yes.
Nobody will ask you, what did you do in Mahindra's or what did you do in Tata's or whatever. You're branded cricketer, you're branded cricketer. And that's when I think, when you talk about youngsters, when you're playing and you've reached such standards of cricket, make cricket something for yourself.
Yeah.
Because for people to think that they're going to do other things, it's not going to happen.
True.
It did happen during my time, when you worked in corporates and you remained there, and once your cricket was over, you made a life after cricket. Today's youngsters don't have that opportunity to do that. And for them, then they have to think, like you said, coaching or mental training or something to do with the sport is what will be the only avenue that they will have. May not be cricket, maybe sport as such. Or even if you're doing marketing, it has to be an event company which is associated with sports or with cricket. Because that brand cricket is not going to leave you. That is 100%. Yeah.
Then you had a stint with Wisden India as well, right?
Yeah,
Very
3
few lucky
years.
cricketers get to work with Wisden, and you are one of them. So tell us the journey with Wisden India.
Again, like I said, that Kuwarba Bapu had said I was going to get into cricket, which I thought was stupid. But then Wisden approached me, and they wanted somebody who had corporate experience, which I had, as well as a cricketer. And they approached me, would you like to take this job? And I'd been so many years in Mahindras, and I was very scared to leave Mahindras for something, that Wisden. But I got a good package, everything worked out well. And it was something that I thought I needed a break out of Mahindras as such. And I took it up, and I think that changed my whole life. Because then you realize, see, Mahindras was still mollycoddled into what our business at that time was always. It had opened out, India had opened out, but we were still the monopoly, and we were controlling things as automobile chaps. Here it was making your life,
Sure.
and making your life in a different segment. But the main thing was it had to do with cricket. And suddenly I came through with records. I love reading on cricket. I love keeping records and everything. So I started the Wisden Cricketer of the Century, Wisden magazine, Wisden website, and which Kapil Dev was the Wisden Cricketer of the Century, and also Wisden 2020 on Doordarshan. So there were so many things. Then we did all the Wisden data that you get. Just now you can go to Cricinfo and get all
Yes,
this information. Was all there were about, I had 60 people in Bangalore who were doing the back office work. Who would be able to digitize scorecard? Because it's cricket, remember, you have to understand, if you were given a score sheet, how to put it into the computer is not so easy, because every ball has to go in.
Right.
What happened during the match, and only a lot of Indians can understand how to read a scorecard. So we had that, and I was very happy. 3 years we did extremely well. Unfortunately, it was owned by Sir Paul Getty. He died. His son Mark Getty was not interested in cricket at all as such, and so they went off with Cricinfo, and that's another story as such. And we had to get rid of a lot of people and all that at that stage. And that, again, I went out of that and then got Tata Consultancy. So that was a great
Well, now
continuation as such. Yeah.
That's superb. I mean, all the experience, I think one led to the other.
Yeah.
And probably it was just as if you're just going with the flow. And probably
It seemed like that.
it
But
seemed
there
like
was
that,
always
yes. Grass is always greener on the other side, as you always say. But I mean, you've been a great cricketer. I would say purely not because I'm sitting with you and doing a podcast, but I think cricket challenges you faced on the field and off the field, and that's why I'm saying you're one of my favorite cricketers. But tell me something. Talking about today's scenario of cricket, now I understand that you need gossips, you need rumors, you need everything, so on and so forth. But as the cricket has grown, probably there's more money that has come on in, there's more entertainment that has come on in, there is a lot of a hype that has been created for every tournament. My first question to you will be that once we saw, there were in the news that there are differences between the players and so on and so forth. Yes, there will be differences in thoughts, but eventually when you play for one team, and it's probably not the players too much doing it, but on the outside it looks like, actually there is something happening, or actually something that is cooking or boiling in, and so on and so forth. Because fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, probably you can quote this better, that are we getting more towards an individual sports person because he's my favorite, because I like his character, or I like his game, I like his hairstyle, or what is it, that we forget that no matter what happens, that 11 when becomes one team, and especially when they play for the country, it is more to support that 11, whether you like it or not. It is for our country that you need to support them, so that they get.
Of course, naturally everyone wants all the 11 to combine and be. But today the combining is much easier, because see, at our time what used to happen was there was no money in it, And apart from money, there was a lot of competition and very little cricket, international cricket to play. Ranji Trophy, we just played 4 matches, you could imagine. You had 4 first-class matches. If you didn't do well in those 4 matches, you were never considered for the zonal as such.
True.
And you were fighting with all the other 5 teams in the zone. So the 4 you had to really do well. So there was a lot of competition there, and to be in the limelight, you had to fight a lot. So there was a lot of enmity also along zonal enmity, players' enmity. Today, financially, they are all secured. And that brings a lot of difference. When you're financially more secured, you play as a team much better, because it doesn't make a player who's out of the Indian squad today is still earning good enough in the IPL. He's earning through India A tours. He's still in the limelight. It's not that he's out of it all. He's comfortable. So I feel today there's a lot of camaraderie when it comes down to the 11, because when you're on the field, much more than us. And also that cricket in India has really flourished here. The talent, and we expect a lot from these.
From all sides, I think. Technology, talent.
And where India is concerned,
infrastructure.
where India public is concerned, I've not seen such a lot of empathy and what you would say, the national pride which was there. At our time, when we played cricket against the England side, most of the press guys would be for the English side. Most of the people say, ye kaise khelega? He won't be able to face Bob Willis. He's too fast for this fellow. How can an Indian do well against that? Today, we've gone past that stage. We are now a nation that is very much in the limelight, very much in the front. Our people are so confident. Our youngsters, IT guys I've seen in TC, they're also confident about themselves. And it's coming out in cricket, it's coming out among our public. Only thing, the cricketers are now under more pressure to perform and get us the trophies and give us that. At our time, they looked at if you did well in a few test matches, damn good. If you really came back winning in a series, it was fantastic.
But is the franchise cricket adding more pressure because you have more games to play? Because if you're talking about a campaign of IPL, it goes on for, I think, almost 2 months, or probably a little more than 2 months.
2 months, but commercially, look at the exposure that the cricketer is getting. It's very interesting, because today a youngster has faced the fastest bowler in the world in IPL. At our time, when we went to play Test cricket, the first time you faced somebody like Bob Willis was at the Test match itself. So you didn't know what he was doing. You didn't know whether he was bowling outswinger, in-swinger. You didn't have all this analysis. You had a Gavaskar who may have come back at lunchtime and say, be careful, this chap bowls a slow one, or bowls a leg cutter, or something like that. But we had to learn through watching. That's why we used to watch. Today a youngster is facing Bolt, and is facing everyone with no pressures at all. And so when he goes to play a test match, and that's why there are so many hundreds on debut coming along now from our time, is because they're already used to international speed. A chap like Bob Willis was at least yard and more faster than anyone else in India, except maybe Salgaonkar. The rest were all military medium people. So suddenly, your technique, you could maybe face the ball, you could protect, you could technically be okay there, but you couldn't attack it because you were not used to that speed. Today there are these bowling machines which come at 100 miles per hour, 120 miles. So your reflexes are being improved. So I think things have changed drastically, for the betterment of cricket. And therefore, whether it's IPL has been a great boon for these people, for the youngsters, A, to showcase the talent, B, to come forth, get enough finances for themselves of what they are doing there. The limelight, they're becoming heroes. When you talk about individuals, yes, what has happened is, among such a lot happening, you have to have your identity coming in. So you have the hairstyles, you have a certain way somebody wants to behave after he gets a wicket.
Yeah.
If somebody behaved like that, my coach would have thrown me out of the ground. But today, I mean, because they know the cameras on them, you can see their movement. They have become stars. They've become as much of actors as well as cricketers. And it is, it's a multimedia, it's a digital world. People want to see this sort of things. They want to see something happening which is
Something
different.
happening.
Yeah.
Well, I will leave you with the last question on this
Okay.
podcast. Uh, India played fantastic in the 2023 World Cup, the Men's World Cup that happened.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't get through it, but I think that was the fantastic campaign that India played. But now T20 World Cup is round the corner. The team has been announced. What would be your thoughts on that?
See, I mean, when you look at it, we are Indians, so our thought would be, I hope we win. We have not won anything major since 2013, but 2011 World Cup was our big trophy as such. So, although we have been considered as the best side, and today T20, we are number one on the chart. That is our rating in ICC is we are number one. So we are the favorites. Whether you like it or not, we have proven in all these years to be the favorite. So we have, I think it's going to be this time. I think India will do extremely well, and the reason being that we are coming from an IPL situation, a T20 situation. What has happened is whether we played the test series where we lost because we were sent suddenly there after IPL and it was different format of a game. One day also we did extremely well and we collapsed. We are collapsing at the semi-final stage somehow and that I feel is because of the fear of failure. They have such a lot of adulation, such a lot of backing that people said, I hope I'm not the fellow who's making the team lose. And therefore you become very protective, you become very conservative in your approach. And that's what we found also, that in the league stage, they are all playing bindas cricket. And suddenly in the knockout stage, everyone is tensed because people expect them to win as such. And I think this team has gone through that. They've gone through those failures. They are now mentally ready to play T20. So that's where I think we are going to like, let's say for example, a Virat Kohli or all of them. Now they've played 2 months of, it's just an additional thing that they're going to have. But they're mentally, their shots, shot making, thinking, facing of deliveries, sort of sort of planning the innings, all has gone through. They're all experimenting and it's coming through well. So I think that's why we should do well. And then we are in a great half where we are playing Ireland first. Then we are playing Pakistan, which is going to be good. But that Pakistan match is like a commercial match, even if we win or lose.
It's India-Pakistan at the end of the day.
One of us will...
You can't help the hype.
We'll go into the last of the Super 8 as such. Then you're playing USA and Canada. So, I mean, it's not... It's a good thing by then. I think may not be in the Pak match, but at least in the other 3 matches, everyone would have got formed back into the thing. They've been there, and then it would be the Super 8 where I think T20 is unpredictable. It's an unpredictable format because it needs 1 or 2 fellows to come and do something, and anyone could.
Right.
Because it's more, you need, it's more sort of, there's more than technique. It's your power hitting which comes. And you've seen that fellows are not moving their feet and hitting the balls out of the ground, whether behind, here, there. And if somebody clicks on one side and plays a blinder, it could ruin anybody else as such.
So India will win.
India will win. I think for me always, I mean, there's no way we should.
Well, and I hope you all will be either in the grounds or on your TV sets or on your mobile phones cheering only one name, India, India. Well,
Yes,
this
that was
is
the
the
thing.
untold story of Mr. Yajurvindra Singh Bilkha, and one last
Okay.
untold story that you want to tell.
Untold.
The
Most of,
untold story. We want to
yeah.
hear the untold story, something we haven't seen, something we haven't heard,
No, there's nothing. I think we
or
have
maybe something heartfelt.
gone through so much already and all that. Yeah, one would like to see India winning was is one thing that, and I think at the end of the day, respect for cricketers as such. You know, somehow or the other, we respect all the present cricketers, but the former cricketers we are not respecting. A lot of them have achieved a lot for Indian cricket to reach this stage. I think there has to be much more effort put into that. I am a part of the Indian Cricketers Association, but I feel that if we can make their lives comfortable, because like I said, there's a lot of hard work each one has put in to be there, whether he's played 10 first class matches or 100. At the end of the day, it's a lot of work that goes there. And somehow the cricket fraternity, and it is there, should be able to look after all of them. They all need as much support as anyone. And if all cricketers are happy and they are looked after, I think that's something that I would feel so proud about as such.
Well, it's a privilege, first of all, to have you at Bal Meets Bold. And I think for all the discussions and for all the stories that you have given us, it's going to be treasured forever on our channel. So I couldn't have asked for more.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're all happy. Thank you so much. And it was a wonderful podcast.
No, thank you very much. And do you always have to have balls? Yeah.